Well, welcome, everybody. We'll call this meeting to order, the June 8th, 2023 meeting. Roll call, we are all here, so that's easy. Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
I'll move to adopt the agenda.
And a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
None opposed, thank you. It's time for public comment. There is no public here, so we are going to adjourn to closed session. And for the board, we'll be doing pupil personnel here, and then we'll be doing the superintendent's evaluation in his office. Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our Roseville Joint Union High School District Board meeting for June 8th, 2023. If you could all rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance Thank you. The board, immediately preceding this, the board met in closed session. Upon motion of Board Member France and seconded by Board Member Hirota, the Board of Education voted to approve readmission of expelled student case number 6-22/23 and student case number 7-2223. The vote was 5-0. As you all know, we love having the members of the public here to address us. You'll have multiple opportunities to address us. The first is going to be under open forum. At that point, you can address the board on any issues of concern that are within our subject matter jurisdiction, but not on tonight's agenda. If we have 9 or less members wishing to speak, you'll have 3 minutes to speak. If we have 10 or more, you'll have 90 seconds to speak. There's also an opportunity for you to speak on each agenda item, and the same time limits will apply. Now, obviously, we would prefer that you remain civil and use courteous language. The board does not condone the use of profanity, vulgar language, gestures, or other inappropriate behavior, including personal attacks or threats directed towards any meeting participant and/or district employee. If you have a complaint about a specific employee or employees of the district, those should be made to that employee's immediate supervisor or the school site principal as outlined in board policies and administrative regulations. As always, our meetings are being both audio and video recorded and live streamed. We'll move into our agenda now. Item 5.1, board reports. I will start with Ludmilla. Do you have any reports for us?
Just want to say I attended 3 graduations last week. It was very celebratory, very joyous finale to the school year. I just want to commend all the teachers and parents and students that came, and I just really enjoyed the process. We handed about 650 diplomas to the ones I went, so it was really fun.
Marla.
I'll echo all that. I enjoyed Oakmont's and Grant Bay's. Small bonus, my younger daughter was at the Grant Bay band, so I got to get a couple pictures of her, so I appreciated that. But happy summer, everyone.
All right. I also had the opportunity to go to a couple of graduations. The Roseville Adult School, which is always a special graduation. If you haven't gone to one of those, I encourage you to do so. It's a different style of graduation. You get to hear a story of each of the graduates and really hear not only from the administration the stories of the students, but the students reflect and thank and show their gratitude. And it's a very moving event. You see people all throughout the crowd and staff members tearing up, and I'll even admit I get choked up every once in a while too, which is, for those of you who know me, that's a rare show of emotion. But anyway, I also got to go to the first graduation at West Park. Becky, you did a wonderful job. The only negative I'll get is the fact that the sun, she timed it so that the sun was in our eyes until the moment we stood up, and then the sun dropped below and put us in shade. So it was just wonderful timing. But it was great to see that and see all the kids graduate there. And again, hear a lot of different stories from the graduates, and just always a great time. So thank you. Julie.
It's a reminder, graduation's a reminder of why this role was so important to me 7 years ago. And I got to see my son graduate, the last of my 2 children through Roseville Joint Union High School District, and it was just a special reward to have that. And also to know some of his friends who have come over as immigrants and be the first in their family to walk and get a diploma. And they did it at Roseville. And it was exciting to just have a reminder of all the possibilities that are available to every single student that's in our district. So thank you all for what you do, not only for my kids, but for everybody there. And I'm very emotional about it still because he's just on his own little vacation right now, coming back tomorrow. So anyway, but it's just, we got an amazing district, and it's incredible what you all do to make that happen. So I'm glad I'm a part of it.
Thank you. Heidi?
All right, more on the graduation theme, echoing what everyone said. It was, definitely the highlight of the end of the year, getting to see the kids across the stage. So I was at Roseville Pathways, which was the really unique combination now of the two in one. So that was really a perfect combination of Independence and then Adelante. So I was excited to be a part of that. And then Roseville High School, of course. I always send the pictures to my son right before, like, look, buddy, this is going to be you in 2 years, and so he always likes seeing that. So I was emotional over your son graduating as well, as you know. So it's just a really exciting time, and it's a great district to be a part of. So happy summer, everyone.
Thank you. We'll now move on to superintendent and cabinet reports, as well as any communications received.
Yeah. First of all, no communications received. Second, like everybody, congratulations to our principals. We know those graduation ceremonies are a huge event. It's like putting on a wedding and everything else wrapped into one. So they all came out great. Great community events. We graduate approximately 2,500 students every year. So again, congratulations to our principals. Next to Jen Layton, Dr. Moore, the Ed Services team. As first week out for summer break, our teachers were back doing professional development this week, and we had over half of our teachers involved in professional development this week at Granite Bay. Dr. Moore, her team could share more with you, but it was nice to see them already back, eager, positive, and enjoying the week. So we're already off and running for next year.
Great. April? Nothing? Brad?
I figured out how to use the buttons. Just the graduations were a great way to end a fabulous year. I enjoyed the 4 that I attended. At the same time, the principals have still been very busy. We have already hired 43 new certificated staff members for next year. We've processed 13 transfers. We still have 6 vacancies, but only having 6 vacancies and basically out of 62 positions, I think you guys have done a remarkable job of filling those spaces with some positions with some incredible staff for next year. I'm really looking forward to meeting them when we return in late July and early August. And also kudos to my HR team for getting them all processed and on board. They've done a remarkable job.
Great. Joe, I know we're going to hear a lot from you later. Anything now? All right. Next item is committee reports. I know the policy committee has not met since the last meeting. Has the other committee? Nope. Okay. RSCA report. I don't think I saw an RSCA representative here. So we're going to move right on to public comment. I have, looks like 3, definitely less than 10. So we'll have 3 minutes for each public comment. Our first is Crystal Fiber, followed by Sarah Newton, followed by Jenny Crawford. There's a button that has a little person on that. If you push that, you should get a green light and you're ready to go. And we just need our timer up.
President Constant, board members, my name is Crystal. I am currently the vice president of the EBSO at Granite Bay High School. We are the independent booster organization that supports the financial needs of the award-winning Emerald Brigade Band. Next year I will be president, and as such I have a financial responsibility to that organization. I also, this year, will have a junior and a freshman in the band. I hope that you all were able to read the email that the EBSO sent to you earlier today. I won't go into details about what it is because I don't have enough time. We felt that the memo was very deceptive that we got from the district. It didn't actually address what was actually trying to be communicated, and the only way we found that out was because our director, Lynn Lewis, is a seasoned band director, and she's been here for over 20 years. And she dug in with the district and started asking questions. Why did we get this? What's going on? But the district has been hesitant. They've been dragging their feet. They don't want to meet with us. They don't want to seem to talk about it or come to a resolution. The proposed change would actually increase our budget for our stipend paid coaches by over 4 times, reaching into the hundreds of thousands of dollars, which obviously our tiny little booster organization cannot cover. Principal Sloan also canceled a meeting with the EBSO today for next week that feels very much attached to this, with no option to reschedule that meeting. We've been told that there might be Prop 28 funds available to cover the difference in what we currently pay our booster paid stipend coaches and what the difference will be with them being on a time card. However, as I've already said, that difference is in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, and I seriously doubt that the Emerald Brigade will be getting that much funding. We also don't feel that that's the intent of Prop 28, as these are current employees and not new employees. This affects the students. My 2 students actually are transfer students for the band program, and we have many who transfer into Granite Bay for the band program specifically. We would like to know what the catalyst for this decision was and why this decision was made without the input of the band directors. And we would like to ask the board to facilitate a meeting between the district decision makers, as we don't know who they are, and the EBSO. And we need this done ASAP because we have summer stipend coaches who need to work, and we don't even know if or how we can pay them at this point. Thank you.
Thank you. We have Sarah, followed by Jenny.
Is there a volume? I can hardly hear what she was saying. Can you turn off the volume?
Yeah, we'll have them turn off the volume a little bit if possible. They would need us just to get closer to the microphone.
Put that in, slide the whole unit towards you maybe.
How's that? Not good? Better?
We'll see if they can hear you.
Okay. All right.
Get your face real close to the mic. There you go.
Still? Where do I have to put my paper and my glasses? We're started. President Constant, members of the board, my name is Sarah Newton, and I have 2 rising sophomores in the Emerald Brigade Marching Band. I am also the treasurer of the Emerald Brigade's Independent Booster Club. I'd like to highlight some of our concerns from the letter the EBSO board sent to you today regarding the memo from the district dated May 9th outlining 2 options to pay booster paid band coaches. Primarily, what we're asking for is clearer and more direct communication so that we know how to operate. The district memo does not state what prevents us from continuing to pay the band coaches as we have, which is option number 1 outlined in the memo. The second option of paying the coaches an hourly wage of $25 per hour, which we've never received direct communication, is the option that we have to follow, but we're being told that outside of this memo will destroy our budget. We're not able to continue our award-winning band program and cover this pay scale for the band instructors. With this change, EBSO will not be able to financially support a staff at anywhere near our current level. The staff are currently working with students over the summer, which began last night, so this issue is extremely urgent. Other California high school bands are able to pay their instructors monthly stipends instead of hourly wage rates and still meet labor law and IRS regulations. So we are asking, why are we being mandated to pay an hourly wage instead of a monthly stipend? We'd like more conversation around that. It was suggested by the district that Prop 28 money could be used to offset the increase in cost. Prop 28, per our understanding, was written to supplement existing funding in order to grow arts programs, not offset an increase in program cost associated with increasing pay rates unnecessarily. If the Prop 28 funds can be used to offset the increase in costs, how will this work when all information available states funding from Prop 28 won't be available until later in the school year? It's putting our organization in a really difficult position because we have to cover those stipends. We urge more consideration and discussion between the district, the boosters, and the band directors to help solve the problems that this change in policy will create for our nonprofit booster clubs as well as the band programs in the district. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Jenny?
Go me. Hello, President Constant and the members of the board. As stated, I am Jenny, and I also have a child with the Granite Bay High School Band, and I will have one the year after next as well, and I do sit on their board. I'm also here to comment on the May 9th memo that is allegedly communicating a change to the way the bands in this district pay their coaches. I like to ask that you help us remind the school district of the org chart that is available on their website. The very top of this chart is the residents, families, and students in this district. The public is the primary consumer in this district and is requesting that admin prioritize communications with the stakeholders who fund their salaries. It is ridiculous that we are unable to have a meeting with anyone who can clarify a memo and the financial burden placed on our nonprofit that funds hundreds of thousands of dollars towards our school band program annually. It is unacceptable and they need to do better in meeting with us. We will be working on bringing all band boosters together to get answers to these questions and hope we can all work together to make this change.
Thank you. So since we had 3, John, can you ensure that you facilitate whatever needs to happen? So the district superintendent will coordinate meeting with you and others to kind of figure out where we're at and where we're going and how we're going to get there. We have one more. Lori, I assume this is for open, is that you just turned this one in, right? For public comment? Yeah, we aim to please. Step right up. Just push the button that looks like a person to turn your mic on.
This book is in the district. You know what I come here to do every time I'm here, unfortunately. Hey, Earl, I can't watch Alphaville today. Why the hell not? I'm sorry, man, I have to hang out with this girl from synagogue. What? Are you gonna eat her pussy? Earl can be sort of profane sometimes. He's actually mellowed out a lot since middle school days, believe it or not. Back in middle school, he would have asked this a much more violent and horrible way. Yeah, Earl, I'm gonna eat her pussy. Huh? Yeah. Do you even know how to eat pussy? Not really. Papa Gaines never sat you down and said, son, one day you're gonna have to eat pussy. When Earl is in full-on gross-out mode, you have to play along or you'll feel stupid. God bless that man. I would teach you some pussy-eating technique, but it's a little complicated. That's a shame. I would need some diagrams and whatnot. Well, tonight maybe you can draw some up. Son, I don't have time for that. I've got like 20 pussies over here that I need to eat. Okay, so we've all heard that enough, right? Why in the world? Why do you make us tell you why this isn't good for kids at school? It's ridiculous. It's insane. It's repulsive, don't you think? Did you read books like this when you were in high school? I'll keep bringing books because there's plenty.
Is that a high school book?
Yes.
Thank you. All right, we'll now move into, please, we are now going to,
Well, she still has time.
No.
I can ask some questions.
no, you actually can't, and if you want to fill out a card, you can come up and speak, but we're about ready to move to the agenda item.
All right, go ahead. It's my
You-
first time here, so I'm just
Okay.
learning this process.
Okay, so we're now going to move to the consent agenda. Do we have any items members would like to pull off the consent agenda? Seeing none, do we have a motion for approval of the consent agenda?
I'll move to approve the consent.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. We'll do a roll call vote. Camilla?
Yes.
Marla?
Yes.
Julie?
Yep.
Heidi?
Yes.
Me? Yes. That is passed. We're now going to move into our action matters. Our first item is item 8.1, public disclosure of 2023-24 non-represented groups agreement, ratification of agreement, and superintendent salary adjustment. And that is Brad or Joe? Joe, go ahead.
Thank you. This is the last step of our salary increase that we had this year. So we've already brought the salary increase for both RSCA and the CSCA unions to the board recently for approval. And these include all of our non-represented groups, as well as the superintendent. And the recommendation, and this is what goes to the county to prove that we can pay for this. And the recommendation is that the board solicit public comment and then ratify the commitment of these agreements and authorize the superintendent's salary increase to match certificate administration as well.
Do we have any questions from the board? I have no cards for public comment. Anyone wishing to address us on this item? Seeing none, do we have any discussion or a motion on the item?
I'll move to approve.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Wait, that was an aye, right? So that's 5-0 approved. We're going to move right into approval of local control accountability plan, our LCAP. Joe, that you again, right? Nope, April.
Thank you, Board President and Board. We last meeting had an extensive presentation and discussion on the LCAP. It has been available for viewing, and we have collected all of the comments that were provided in writing and responded to them. And so this is now up for action, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Do we have any questions first from board members? Seeing none, I do not have any cards from members of the public unless it's that one there. Nope. Anybody wishing to address us on this item? Seeing none, do we have any discussion or a motion on item 8.2?
I said everything last week or last time.
Okay. Would you like to make a motion then?
I would make a motion to approve the LCAP on 8.2.
All right. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? None. That passes 5-0. Our next item is our fiscal year 2023-24 budget adoption. Now it's back to you, Joe.
Back to me. We're keeping you on your toes today of who gets to speak. But similar to the LCAP, we gave a presentation last board meeting that went into more details. So I'm not going to go into many details about our budget, but we solicited public comment, had it available for review. There's a few minor changes, just as we hire people and things get finalized. We have the updated COLA that we're projecting from the governor at 8.22%. The state budget should be finalized sometime next week. And so once that gets finalized, we'll provide an update to the board. And while this is our adopted budget, or our proposed adopted budget is just one step in the process, we'll be providing updates throughout the year. And the first one that officially will be coming is in December. We'll have our first interim budget. But there is the potential, if the state budget has any dramatic changes, we're required to provide a 45-day revision to the board. So that could be a possibility. So with that, staff recommends the adoption of the 23-24 budget as presented.
Thanks. And just a quick question for clarification. When I reviewed it, our reserves stay at the 3 and 3 for a total of 6 plus the unallocated, and we stay within our 10% target that we've been shooting for.
Yes,
for
that's correct.
All 3 years.
Yep.
Okay. Anybody have any questions, clarifications, or concerns? Seeing none, I do not have any cards from the public. Would anyone like to address us on this issue? Okay, then it's time for a motion.
Motion to approve.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Oh, Marla got it by a hair. All right, Marla, second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Nope. Okay, so that is also approved 5-0. We're going to move on to item 8.4, but I think Julie has a comment.
So, yeah, I have a
here.
comment on that. President Constant, I'd like to separate a couple things out here, just trying to be orderly about it. So I'd like everyone to consider Exhibit B of 8.4, then we go to 8.5, and then we go to Exhibit A of 8.4.
Sounds very reasonable, so that is what we will do. We're going to bifurcate this item, hear B first, and then hear 8.5, and then come back to 8.4A. So with that, we will have the superintendent, I believe you have anything to address us on the job description?
No, the job description is kind of an expansion of the previous executive director of student services and expanding the leadership roles and capacity of that into the assistant superintendent of student services position. It's not even on. And yeah, so working with the Human Resources Department and the people involved here, it encompasses a lot of the new behavior threat, some professional development and support of our assistant principals. And yeah, so it's expanding it and hopefully be able to provide greater communication, transparency, and accountability for student services.
Great, again, so we're only going to be talking about the job description at this point. Are there any questions, comments, concerns? I do not have any members of the public unless someone would like to come on up. Just state your name for the record since we don't have the card.
Christina Munoz. I'm a parent of a student at West Park, and I just wanted to say that I appreciate the efforts that's being taken to bring up transparency for this position. I know there's been a lot of attention on the wellness center, mental health, and things like that, and to now know that there is going to be a position that will be able to provide oversight, and I can't wait to work with whoever this person is and hopefully, you know, continue to turn the page. So thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak on this? Okay. With that, do we have a motion to approve the job description on Exhibit B?
I'll move to approve.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? None, so that passes 5-0. We're now going to move into item 8.5, public employee employment, and then we'll go back to 8.4A. We'll go to John first.
All right, we have 4 items here. The purpose is to approve the 3-year contracts for the new Assistant Superintendent Education Services and the new Assistant Superintendent Student Services, along with approving and revising the 3-year contracts for the Assistant Superintendent of Business and Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources. The latter are to fulfill a goal of 2 years ago of having all of our assistant superintendents on a very similar contract, moving them from the 248-day calendar with the 25 vacation days to everybody being on a 220 work year calendar. So that's why all of those are set there. The first one is A. It is the Assistant Superintendent of Education Services. After completing an extensive selection and search process, staff recommends the approval of the contract for Tumu Akaros for the position of Assistant Sup Education Services. Ms. Muakaros has 22 years of experience as a teacher, a very successful tenure as a school principal. She's been a literacy specialist, district administrator, area instructional superintendent, parent and community engagement coordinator, to name a few, which has prepared her for this position. Ms. Karos has spent the past year in Woodland as the Assistant Superintendent of Education Services, and then again the prior 9 years in a similar role of Area Instructional Assistant Superintendent in Sacramento City. Most importantly, Ms. Mu and her family reside here in Roseville and have since 2005. She's got a student at West Park and one at Chilton, and they've got business here in the city of Roseville. They are active in the city of Roseville through Roseville Youth Soccer. She's been a team mom, I believe, for 8 years, so that'll qualify you for a lot. Active in Boys and Girl Scouts, church, and things like that in our community. So she's well vested in our community, and her primary purpose was to be able to give back and work in our community. And so there's that. Do you want to go one at a time, or do you want to?
I think, why don't you give us the descriptions each as we go along, and then we will decide if we're going to vote together or separately afterwards.
Okay. All right, so the next one is B, Assistant Superintendent Student Services. This is Dr. Melanie Dobson, who has been in the role of Executive Director of Student Services for the past 2 years, and she has performed very successfully in that position with her extensive experience as an effective site and district leader, both here and previously in Elk Grove Unified. She is a very effective leader and very student-centered in all of her work. Dr. Dobson is excited to build the foundation of an outstanding student services team and to provide high-quality programs and services for our students. And so that's B. And then C is as I stated earlier, the contract updates for business services and human resources, both Joe Landon and Brad Basham.
Thank you. So just to the board, we have one card, but before we get to that, is there any preference on whether we vote for these all together, or would anyone like to split this out and vote individually?
I'm going to recommend we keep them all together as one item.
Okay. Okay, sounds like that's then what we will do. Before we go to public comment, any questions, not comments yet, just any questions for the superintendent on any of the 4 of these contracts? Seeing none, we have one card. Christine, you're good? Okay, so we have no cards. So now it's an opportunity for the board to have discussion. I'll start off with 2 comments. First is on item C and D. Thank you. I know that we talked about this previously of kind of getting us lined up, and I always thought it was odd that we had different contracts for different people in essentially the same roles, and this gets us now uniform across those, both in contents and cycles. So if we make changes, we'll be able to make them all together as we go forward. So I appreciate particularly Brad and Joe for working with us on this to make fairly significant changes to some of the elements of the contract. We did our best to keep you whole. We appreciate you working with us on adjusting the days and the vacation schedules. That's very helpful to us and our board goals that we've had. Melanie, been great working with you, and just very happy to see you ascend to this new role. 2, I haven't met you yet. I haven't had a chance to talk to you, but I'm thankful that you're here and that we have an opportunity to have our discussion tonight. Now, I know we've received a lot of emails today in relation to these contracts and the process that we take or don't take and the involvement we have or don't have on individual contracts. Many of you got an email from me if you sent it before an hour and a half before the board meeting, you got a response that outlined our process that we have. Every school district is different. Some school districts have heavy board involvement in individual interviews and selection committee and different things, whether it be for principals or cabinet members. We have ours all outlined in our board policies, and as I indicated in the email responses, we followed those board policies and trust our superintendent, who I know and I think speaking on behalf of the entire board have a very high level of trust in our superintendent. So we do believe that if he believes that this is the right person to fill the role, then we have the right person to fill the role. And with that, I'm going to pass this on to any colleagues who would like to make comments on any of the 4 contracts. Marla?
Yeah, I'd just like to make a comment we've received a lot of emails, and I think I have utmost confidence in John, and we've had several conversations. And what I found challenging this last few days was because I had not met 2, I was at a little bit of a loss in how to address the community's concerns, because I can't speak. I can only echo what John has told me. And so I know we followed board policy, and I am completely in agreement that it's John's position to recommend any new hire. I would love to see, and maybe we can talk about this at a future time, a mechanism where, especially for such high roles, for the board to at least have an opportunity to meet and have a chat with some of these candidates, not all, but maybe the top 2, only because often an assistant superintendent will become an interim superintendent. and to not have any kind of exposure ahead of time before I'm saying yes. It's hard. It was hard for me the last couple days to not be able to say I've spoken with someone and I feel confident along with John's confidence. So I don't know, however you would like me to propose.
You just did.
Okay, thank you.
So great. So we have a number of policies that we as a board have agreed that we're going to address. I'm not going to bring some of them up because we'll start getting public comments on them, because we know we've had a few of those policies gone awry, but we'll add that to our list, and hopefully we're going to have a full cabinet, so we're not going to have to deal with this for a while, but we will address it and get it part of our regular ongoing
I appreciate
processes.
that was tough for me this week.
I feel your pain. Ludmilla, any comments?
I just want to say congrats to Mel. Look forward to working with you in student services, and look forward to working with you too on the board. And I do trust John and his judgment in selecting the best person for the job. So I'd like to say that. I've also fielded some calls and some emails, so I would agree with what Marla had said as well, that it would have been great to have that opportunity beforehand. Thank you.
Julie.
I think you got a great team. Like, you're rounding out the team. This is great to see. And I was just thinking about what it's like to onboard new employees. So welcome to. And I look forward to hearing more. And I was just reflecting on our vision statement over here, work in partnership with families and the community. So I ask, as onboarding new employees, that we all as a community, of Roseville Joint Union High School District, as well as our extended 6 comprehensive high schools and all the families that encompass that and students, that we create a welcoming environment for our new employees, both here and the ones that Brad has mentioned that we're bringing on, plus for the 43 more that we still need. Because I think it's crucial to the success of a team to have a good, solid onboarding, to have a welcoming environment. It's crucial, right? And so I ask for our community support in welcoming all of our new employees. That would include anyone we may approve today. And that's all I have to say. So.
Heidi, anything to add?
Right, we're going down the row, so I'm going to repeat a lot of what's been said. But yes, congratulations to everyone with their new contracts. I also put all my faith in John Becker here. I hung out with Dr. Moore a lot too, so I'm excited to hang out with you as well. I look forward to that. And I also agree that, yeah, being able to be perhaps part of the process, you know, in certain capacities might be a good idea. I'm not opposed to that idea. And yeah, welcome aboard to everyone. And how many new people did you say, Brad? 43?
Yeah,
or
already 43 new hires, still 6 vacancies.
6 vacancies. Okay.
43.
Okay.
Well, thank you. We'll definitely pay attention to our board policies as we're moving forward. As many of you know who are our regulars here, we've been striving to clarify roles of the board, clarify roles of our superintendent and administration, as well as those of our individual school sites. So this is one more opportunity for us to take a look at that and find ways that we can improve moving forward. So with that, I'm going to ask for a motion that would include A, B, C, and D, approvals of these 4 contracts.
I'm sorry, when do we get to comment?
Oh, I called for public comment, but I didn't have any cards. Would you like to speak?
Sure.
Sure. Just, since you didn't fill out a card, just give us your name when you come to the microphone, and then you can speak.
My name is Gerardo Sanchez. I've been living here since '89, and I have 2 high schoolers. One is about to graduate, another one is coming up. I just, listening to this book, who's responsible for this? The principal of the high school, the vice superintendent?
We're
So now
not
her job, the job.
Excuse me, sir.
I'm sorry?
We can only discuss this agenda item, but.
Okay, I'm going there.
Well.
What is her job? What is her job going to be? Is she going to bring this agenda of this book?
There's a.
That's my concern.
Okay.
What?
So
'cause
there is.
they said that they don't even know who this person is. So I want to know. I want to have more information on who you're hiring.
Okay.
Because I don't want these books in the high school.
Okay.
In any school.
Okay, there's a job description that is in the agenda, so you can get that, or we'll have someone print a copy of it for you so you can see exactly what the role of this position is. We're not talking about books tonight, but we will be, I guarantee you, we'll be talking about those in the future, so you'll have an opportunity to speak on those. And I can have April follow up with you right after the meeting to April, right here. She'll follow up with you after the meeting so that we can stay on our agenda topic. So
All right.
we'll get you that information, sir.
Okay, yeah, I want to know what her description needs. I mean, all that information that what's going on.
Perfect, we'll take care of that for you. Any other members of the public? Okay, back to the motion. Did we, I don't think we got one, right?
I'll move to approve.
Okay, we have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes 5-0. Congratulations to our renewals, our elevation, and our new hire. Glad to have you all here. We're looking forward to getting to know you, so don't run away. We'll probably talk to you at the end of the meeting. All right, our next item is item 8.6, Resolution 2310 for volunteers' general liability and workmen's compensation coverage. I know this has been a topic, oops. Oh, sorry, I forgot.
Sorry, that was my job.
We're going to go, yeah, I'm going to blame that on Julie. That's what I always say at home, too, since that's my wife's name. So we're going to go back to item 8.4A, and that's our organizational chart, and that includes the changes with the job description and the new position and the hires that we just spoke about. So do we have any members of the public that want to speak on the org chart? Seeing none, do we have a motion?
Move to approve.
We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. None opposed. That passes 5-0. Now we're going to go to the general liability and workmen's compensation coverage for volunteers. As I was starting to say, this is an issue that has been subject of discussion at many school boards. So, Joe, I know there's some questions on why we're doing it, what's it new. If you can just give us a very short description of why, and then we'll get on with it.
So the short description is this has been in place for a while, but we had a recent issue at another district where the insurance, the coverage wasn't clear. And so California Ed Code requires that districts have a resolution allowing volunteers to have workers' comp coverage and clarifying who is a volunteer. And it's not just anybody, it's approved volunteers who've gone through the proper background checks and everything like that. And so this is recommended from our insurance group that all the districts, and that's why we've probably seen it, because many districts realize they don't have this resolution on file. Maybe they did many years ago, but they don't have record of it. And so it's really just a protection to make sure we have this resolution on file so that we have proper workers' comp coverage.
So just to be sure, this is not a functional change or a change in our practice. It's merely a compliance move to ensure that we don't have any exposure to liability.
Correct.
Okay. I don't have any cards. Any member of the public wish to speak? Seeing none, do we have any discussion or a motion from the board?
I can move to approve.
We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Give that to Heidi. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? No. Oh, that's a resolution, so roll call.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. All right. We're now going to move to item 8.7, Certificate of Need for Fully Qualified Educators. Brad?
Yes. In order to issue any emergency EL authorizations or any limited assignment permits, we have to have a board-approved declaration of need that goes to the county. We're basically trying to anticipate what we might need, and so we do this on an annual basis. So usually we tend to bring it a little bit later. I'm trying to get better about bringing these things a little bit earlier in terms of anticipation. We are anticipating potentially 6 emergency EL authorizations, 5 limited assignment permits, 3 in special ed, 1 in physics, and 1 in Spanish. And those are typically difficult to fill positions. We may not need them, but we may, and that way if we have them already approved, we can issue those. And then 5 teacher intern permits. We currently have 4 teachers who are earning their special education or ed specialist credentials, working with PCOE. And we have 1 new Spanish teacher who is working on with an intern credential through the Fortune School of Education. It's a new MOU that we have with that School of Education. So just requesting board approval of the declaration of need for the 23-24 school year.
Thank you. I do not have any cards from the public. Does anyone want to address us on this? Seeing none, any discussion or motion?
Motion to approve?
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That passes 5-0. Item 8.8, approval of core textbooks. April.
Thank you. At the May 11th board meeting, we had the first reading. We've had these on display for well over the 30 days, and we are ready for action on these 6 books. And as you know, they went through the full review process, including school site council awareness and the curriculum instruction and leadership team. So these AP and IB course textbooks are ready for approval.
I do not have any cards from the public. Does anyone wish to address us on this? Questions or comments from the board? Do I have a motion for approval?
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? None. That passes 5-0. Moving into our last action item, and that is the approval of Flex Performance LLC Athletic Medical Training Agreement. Is that you, April?
Yes, it is.
All right.
And it will soon be Dr. Dobson in her new role. But we've worked together on this. And you may recall earlier in the school year, we had a very large contract with Advantage for athletic trainers, and we had quite a bit of discussion around that. In the end, they were not able to staff the athletic trainers that we needed to fully staff for safety purposes at each of our schools. And so what we ended up doing in the spring as a result of working with them on contracts, they just weren't able to fulfill the need. We staff found Flex Performance as a solution, and they were able to actually help us finish the school year and have the safety staff on sites that we needed. And so this proposal will help us. So what we're doing is we have a multi-year contract in place for Advantage. We're actually in the process of reducing that because they cannot perform, and instead we're bringing this. So this will be part of our staffing. Advantage at a reduced factor will be part of the staffing for our athletic trainers as we move forward.
I do not have any cards from the public. Does anyone wish to address us? Seeing none, any questions, comments, concerns, or motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? None. That passes 5-0. Thank you. We are now going into our Section 9 items, which are informational items. We have the LCAP local indicators. April?
And this will conclude the LCAP approvals of this meeting. You did in the consent agenda several items, the federal addendum, then an action item, and then this is informational. It does not require action, but we are required to present it to you. And these are some of the local indicators. We do some self-assessment. We'd run it through our LCAP advisory committee, the appropriate applicable elements. We work with all of the departments, so there's human resources reporting, the business services team, and this will then be uploaded to the California School Dashboard to accompany the other state metrics such as test scores and graduation rates and other things. So this is informational. You have the PDF there. We've had many presentations around LCAP, but I am happy to answer any questions you may have about this one.
I do not have any cards from the public. Anyone wish to make any comments? All right, board, any questions or concerns? Or a motion? Oh, we don't need a motion, never mind. If there's no questions or concerns, we're gonna move right on to our next item, which is item 9.2, staff comments. If anyone didn't get an opportunity to speak earlier and has a burning desire to do so from staff. April?
I'll just add, did a lot of work in LCAP, and I would be remiss if I did not thank Ms. Judy Fisher, Shane Wagner, and the whole team. All the principals have been highly involved in leading our LCAP advisory committees, and I just really appreciate it. Definitely takes the whole team and our community. It's a 60-person group with parents and student involvement, and it's been a blast to be a part of, and that tonight's work is the result of the year and the 3-year process that we've been on. So thank you to everyone, and in particular, Mrs. Fisher.
Thank you. Anybody else? Brad?
First of all, I'd like to say thank you to Julie for your recognition of how we need to onboard people. Mrs. Mua Karos is here tonight with her 2 children, her husband, her mother and father, and this should be a night of celebration. We are welcoming someone who is highly qualified to this team, a team that is dedicated to the students and the families in this community. So I just appreciate you for bringing your family. I appreciate your comment in terms of how we need to bring people on in a positive way, and I'm really looking forward to working with you. So again, thank you for being here.
Thank you. With that, our next item is pending agenda items. In your agenda, you will have a long list of agenda items that we'll be dealing with over the next 6 months and maybe beyond. If you have anything that you'd like to add, just either let me or John know. And with that, if we have a motion to adjourn, we can go home. Nobody wants to make a motion, we'll stay.
I will make a motion to adjourn.
Okay. We have a motion. Do we have a second? All right. All in favor signify by saying aye. All right. Good night, everyone. Thank you.